Hi guys, welcome to Hood2Hood Basketball, where we document basketball activities across the various communities in Ghana. My name is Junior Anthony Zugah, and as you see seated by me is
Jonas Vainauskas.
welcome to Hood2Hood Basketball.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's start on a lighter note. Tell us a bit about yourself, Jonas.
Okay, about myself, where do I start? Basketball.
Where you were born?
I was born in Vilnius, in the capital of Lithuania, and at that time occupied by Soviet Union. So you can imagine that it was not the best of the childhoods, at least at the beginning. But it was not a bad childhood because we got to play a lot of games. We spent a lot of time outside, which kids these days don't do so much in my country. We used to play everything. We used to play basketball, football, volleyball, handball, ice hockey, anything we can actually to keep ourselves occupied. So from sunrise to sunset, that's what we did. When I started school, the first objective was actually looking up to the bigger kids, playing for the high school team. So this was the objective growing up, make into a school selection, get noticed by a sports school or by a basketball school, and get a place there. If not the first team, then second team, third team, and that's how the dreaming started.
Okay, so as growing up, at what age did you get interested in basketball?
Just right from the beginning, the turning point. I was 5 years old. Our team from a different city, from Kaunas, Žalgiris, was playing a European Cup final against Cibona Zagreb. I remember it very clearly. It's sort of my first clear basketball memory. It was a badly officiated game, a very tense game, and it ended up with a loss for our team. My first childhood dream, I didn't really, put much thought into it. It was just sort of spontaneous. I'm gonna win that cup one day, and I did. I did that. Actually, I did that at age of 24 as a manager of my city's Vilnius team, Lietuvos Rytas Vilnius. So I'm probably the youngest person to win any international competition as a manager. So that's something I set my mind to at a very young age, and I followed it on that dream.
Okay, that's very commendable. And how long did you play, and when did you transition into administration?
Well, I played until late teens, up to 15. I was playing for academy. I did quite well, and I had a scholarship in the United States, so I went there. It wasn't the best experience, actually. I ended up in a very small town, in a very close community, and I didn't get the best chance of exposure there. So, as a teenager, I was quite upset. I came back home to Lithuania, and my age group progressed so much. So I didn't, they were actually surpassed me. Most of the kids I was so much better than. Then I came back, them practicing twice a day, every day, and me being sometimes even left out of the American squad. I lost a lot of time, and I had to make a transition. It also was a spontaneous thing. The team I took over went bankrupt, when I came back from the States, and it happened that, I asked my father for money to bail him out, and he agreed. He gave me a couple of clear instructions what our first goals are for me to keep it going. So it was just to make the playoffs. We did so much better than that in my first year. We won the bronze medals and the Lithuanian Cup, and it just took off from there.
Okay, so as at that young age, managing a team, how was that experience like for you?
I didn't think about myself as being young. I just thought that this is what I wanted to do. This is what I was blessed with the opportunity to do. And I really didn't pay much attention to the stresses and hostilities I would be facing. I just went for it. And probably at this level, you just get one shot at it. I took it. First 8 years were extremely difficult. I was pressured by my peers. I was pressured by competition. I was pressured by the media. So even the media probably and the public gave me a break only after the win in European Cup. So it was difficult 8 years. Actually, I was too young for that task. So emotionally, it was quite difficult. I was, I had to face a lot of obstacles. I had to make a lot of sacrifices. I didn't see my daughter growing up because I was traveling. I was working all the time. I got divorced because of that, partly because of that. So I mean, it's quite a heavy price I paid for basketball, but not even for a second. Looking back, I would change anything. So it was my way of getting myself out there and trying to compete against the best of them. And I got there. I competed. I was considered to be right up there with the brightest, and it was my journey, and it was a successful one.
Okay, so with all this, how would you describe the scene of basketball in Lithuania?
The scene of basketball?
Yeah.
Very competitive. It's very competitive. It is a national sport, so everything you do, everything you say, it's documented, it's discussed. There are a lot of pressures, as much as probably any, English managers get in England coaching football. It's as difficult as that. So it's very competitive. There are a lot of talented people. Competitions range from youth to seniors, to men, to wheelchair, to disabled. I mean, everyone plays basketball. We have every city has 4 divisions of basketball, amateur divisions.
Oh.
So everyone plays basketball, and it's something we are proud of, and something we want to see other countries also acquiring. The passion we have for the game is quite unique.
Is that the reason why you guys came up with the International Basketball University?
Well, we have to put our expertise and experience to work. It doesn't only so good for us. We are a small country. We have all the means to educate our young professionals, and we have a lot of great material on our hands. A lot of videos, a lot of we developed a separate methodology basically for every aspect of the game. And when we started to export our knowledge, it proved to be a success in such big countries as China, Philippines, Thailand, big countries which are running their programs partly in a Lithuanian way. So if it works there, most likely with some adjustments, it could work everywhere else.
Okay, so in 2 years ago, in 2020, one of our own was announced as the representative for International Basketball University as Mr. Richard Bossa. And I guess that has created this partnership with Lithuania. And how do you feel about it?
Well, it's great. Someone like Richard making the steps. We are always there. We are always available for new partnerships, new meetings. But someone actually has to make that first step, and that's why it's Ghana. It could have been South Africa. It could have been any other country. But Richard made an effort to contact us. He actually went to Lithuania a couple of times. He met with me. He met with my president and my secretary general. So we established a friendly connection there, and we followed up. It's an ambitious administration in charge right now of our federation. They want to pursue the international agenda. They want to go beyond our borders. And Richard was at the right place at the right time. And that's why we're here.
Okay, so in December last year, Lithuanian Basketball Federation and the International Basketball University signed an MOU with the Ghana Basketball Association. What was in the agreement?
Well, listen, MOUs is something bureaucrats use to make themselves look good. If once those MOUs get signed, they are put on the shelves in the respective federation, and nothing happens. So this is a special case because both parties followed up, and it's not sort of an imaginary partnership which will never come to realization. This is what happened, and that's the magic about it, that we actually managed to do it, regardless of the COVID situation, traveling restrictions, all the uncertainties. I'm here. I was here already for almost 10 days, and we did actual work people who can see. If Ghanaian party will follow up on it, on the things we've done here and the promises we made to each other, anything can happen.
Okay, so when you were assigned to come to Ghana, what was the expectation like?
I was not actually assigned. I volunteered because it's a very complex project, and not many of my colleagues actually would follow through with the agenda. I really wanted to do something in Africa. I had some experience in South Africa. I lived there for a while, but I just couldn't find a way to interest people with basketball, and that hurt my ambition a little bit. So when Ghana came along, I was really up for it.
Okay, so the first time you got to Ghana, how did you feel like?
Well, excited. I mean, it was a challenge. I knew it right from the beginning. Every step along the way is going to be. I mean, we had to cross a lot of cultural lines, and we had to adjust to each other. We have created that positive energy right from the beginning, and everyone followed. With what we have started here, and it's been an incredible journey. I mean, it feels like at least a month or two, not 10 days, which we have been here, in an amount of work we've done and amount of energy we spent. I really feel exhausted, but I still have to keep it going for a couple more days.
Okay, so what was your main assignment coming to Ghana?
Well, we are trying to give you the best training programs we can. So actually, being on the ground, I had to really look at the state of your basketball, the facilities, coaching methods, the level of the players, all of that I had to consider to put a national strategy in place in the right way. We didn't pitch the national strategy. We do pitch for other countries. Ghana was a special project. It's our first project in Africa. We want to get everything right. So I looked at a very little specificity of every situation to get it right. I got most of it already on paper. I need a bit of time to finalize it, and you'll have your national strategy according to your needs, and hopefully, your federation and the management around federation will come up with funds to back that strategy up. I mean, even without money, running on ambition and energy, you can do the same things, just over a much longer period of time.
Okay, so when you got to Ghana, you had time to meet with the vice president and the president of the GBBA. What was the discussion like?
Well, the discussion from the beginning was that we have to do something special for basketball immediately to get people interested, because there's so much to be done. There's no there's no league functioning covering all areas of Accra. There was no national team. I was so surprised to hear that you didn't have one for almost 3 decades. So that's where we started. We started with a national team. So we set certain standard. I mean, none of the 16 players might make it to the African Games if all the players playing outside would come back. But that's exactly the point. I mean, will they come back? They actually didn't have where to come back because there was no national team. So we set a certain standard here with the players we have. I think we've done this selection process well. It was definitely unbiased, and I think the players who showcase themselves in the best way, they are there, and the ones who did not, they have all of the chances to make the roster in a longer run. So they just have to keep working.
Okay, so from your assessment of the players, what did you notice, and how can we do our best to develop our players?
Well, first of all, you have to get the fundamentals right. I mean, I see the players, like I said already a couple of times on press conferences, they play on imagination. Because they don't have the tactical foundation and the technical foundation to play the game. So that's where you should go back to and start implementing the basics. And that is what we are going to suggest to you in a very formal way in terms of a national strategy. Teach your players fundamentals, teach your coaches to teach your players those fundamentals. So that's a start.
So that would be the responsibility of our coaches. And what did you also notice about our coaches?
Well, they tend to overcomplicate basketball because playing variety of zone defenses, playing complicated sets is absolutely no use to the players. They have to learn the simple things first, things that work well. And those complex things are basically, they are suited much more for concrete opponents in a particular situation. Then you go to the foundations of basketball, you just have to get the first principles right. Like in chess, you have to study the opening sequences. Same with basketball, opening sequences. And then you get that right and you practice it over and over again from a young age. You will see that then you employ your imagination, that skill set, the fundamentals, you have limitless possibilities to play the game at the highest level. But first things first. So let's get the fundamentals right, and the talent you have in this country, it can one day become a basketball country.
Okay, so you had the opportunity to visit 4 regions. First was Accra, second was Western Central, then Kumasi. How different was all these places for you?
Well, Accra is probably at the moment the most important region. That's where the best players play at the moment. So that's where most of the national team players got selected. I think Kumasi is a great region too, but in the scrimmage game we saw probably not all the best players played. So I hope they get organized and come to Accra or invite the national team to compete, so they also have a proper representation. I know how Ashanti region is important and how big it is and how valuable to a basketball community. So I hope they'll find their way to be represented in a national team. And the Cape Coast and Takoradi. I mean, everywhere I went, I pretty much got the same idea of missing fundamentals and will and ambition to get to the highest level. So what is missing, we already discussed, but it's important that there is a will to compete. There is an honest willingness to be at the best, and if the federation can keep this momentum going, it will create a good energy around basketball. I mean, all the regions have at this moment similar starting conditions, and if they implement the strategy, if they put in the work, I mean, God knows. I mean, a lot of great things can happen in this country.
Well, it was going around. It was your sole responsibility to select the players, those you think have the potential to make the national team. And what was your criteria for the selection?
Well, yeah, the criteria was very simple. First, we had to get players play in their positions, in their natural positions. So that's how we were selecting team. So point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, centers, and I think the 16 we have I think that's probably the best we could have gotten with that, so position by position. So I didn't get a lot of chance to look at the psychological aspects, and there it was I didn't just have an opportunity to speak to them individually, so I had to focus on the actual game. And I mean, I can inform everybody they were, in my opinion, at the best of their game. They were all committed. And it is important that we manage to put actually the simple sets in place so they can showcase themselves from the best angles. So I think the selection process was good. It was successful.
So it looks like most of your work has been done. What's next for these players?
Well, next is hard work. A lot of hours of hard work. We have to compensate for the time they have lost. Well, I know I interviewed a lot of players. They said, you know, they started playing basketball at 11, 12, 14, 16, and they, you know, when they get to the big leagues, they'll be competing against players who started to practice once or twice a week from very, very early age, and they got the fundamentals right. And they already have some experience playing competitive matches. So they will be subjected to a very fierce competition. They have to really, really start taking this seriously now.
And there are plans to go on European tour with these players. And how is the schedule like?
Well, the schedule, we have initial plan of staging 10 games. That's subject to review. We'll see if it's feasible. Maybe we'll reduce the number of games, but it's going to be a lot of competitive games, and it's 6 months to prepare for them. Ambition is probably what I've discussed with the people around the project is that to try to get as many of these national team players playing outside, and next year when the new national team comes, do the same with them, so we'll have a pool of 20, 30, maybe 40 players playing outside at a good level. And then they come back, finish their careers. They will be the ones who would be implementing the new Ghana basketball based on their international experience. I actually honestly do believe that this has to be done by the young people. I don't see it being done by the people who have not seen the international basketball, who have not seen the new trends of what's happening in the world. So I really put a lot of trust and faith in the young ones, especially this first generation of national team, who will have an opportunity to showcase themselves outside and hopefully sign their first professional contract.
Okay, so you guys are coming back in February.
That's the plan.
For the second phase.
That's the plan.
So how is the second phase going to be like?
Well, actually, our return date is scheduled. It's not exactly scheduled because Ghana Basketball Association promised to organize 2 friendly games for this national team. So if that will be done, we will be in attendance watching, and hopefully, you know, with 4 or 5 weeks of hard work and preparation, this national team can truly show its potential. My aim is I aim more in basketball than the business side of the project. So basketball, I really want to see this team play an international friendly for me to actually assess my own work.
Nice. So Jonas, the assessment also had to do with structures.
Yeah.
What did you notice about structures in Ghana?
Well, structures, you mean the league structures, or the corporate, the governing bodies?
No, like...
or facilities, you mean?
Facilities.
Well, guys, you play outside. This is great. You are blessed with an incredible climate.
Have you had any Ghanaian food yet?
Well, I don't think we have had anything traditional. We sort of improvised along the way, so I still have a couple of days to get this box ticked. But overall, it's you know, you look at the food differently than we do, and this is okay because we are worlds apart. But everything I experienced so far, I put into my experience bank, and it's an experience, good or bad. It's an experience.
Any local language you've learned yet?
No, actually, I have not. I really had a difficult time trying to get a sense of what you guys are talking about, but it's okay because also being left out of a conversation here and there, I was able to focus on my basketball tasks and actually, think few of my steps, 1, 2, 3 steps ahead. So it was a cultural experience. I'm grateful for everyone who taught me so much, because as much as I came here to teach, I came here to learn too, and I learned a lot.
I think one thing you should learn also is Akwaba.
Akwaba.
Means welcome.
Akwaba.
Yeah.
Akwaba.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jonas, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Until we see you again.
During the friendly match, Ghana versus Benino Togo, as promised by Ghana Basketball Association. So let's be excited about that upcoming friendly. It's the first international friendly Ghana will be playing in 3 decades. I'm excited.
We are excited too.
Good, thank you.
All right.